Namaste everyone. My name is Sudha Jagannathan. Welcome to Kona Dialogues. Kona Dialogues is a conversation channel at Kona. Kona stands for Coalition of Hindus of North America. As you all probably know, we are a grassroots advocacy organization and we represent and fight for issues that affect Hindus in North America, that is the United States and Canada. Today, I'm very pleased to welcome Divya Jain. She's a biotech professional, wife and mother. And namaste, Divya. And the
Namaste,
conversation,
Sudhaji.
thank you for joining. The conversation today is, I think, of interest to a lot of Hindu parents, particularly outside India and maybe in India too. And Divya has a very fascinating story. The conversation is going to be about Divya's journey as growing up as a Hindu Jain in India, coming to the US, and taking a detour into a different faith. And after a few years there, she decided the answers to her questions and her future was back in Sanatana Dharma. And so today she is a Sanatani and a Dharma warrior. So thank you for joining, Divya. But before you start, I want to just let the audience know. Please ponder some questions. You know, if you are parents, if you are friends of Hindus or anyone out there, please ponder some questions. Hindus are very good at nurturing exceptional students, great CEOs, savvy politicians, but somewhere we miss the boat. We are unable sometimes to nurture exceptional, proud Hindus. And I think we are going to look forward to Divya sharing some of her thoughts on what parents and the community needs to do to fix that problem. So with that, Divya, give us an overview of your upbringing in India and your journey to the United States.
Okay, thank you, Sudhaji, first of all, for having me over. CoHNA is doing a tremendous job. I have been, reading about it and have been following your websites and all the updates that I get in my email. So thank you for all the work that you guys are putting in for Hindu causes. So as the question that you asked, if I have to answer, I was raised in Jain family. So Jain is a dharmic path of Sanatana Dharma. It's not different, particularly like in terms of the puja style, the worshipping style. The mantras are, a lot of them are in Prakrit and Sanskrit. But most of it is indicating to the same thing. I see Jainism as more like an Advaita Siddhanta, Advaita principle of Sanatana or Hinduism or Sanatana Dharma. So in the parallelly, Jainism is running in as per Advaita, you can say. I grew up in a Jain family. My mother, who was a teacher, Sanskrit Hindi teacher in middle school, and now she's retired. My father was a geologist, and he's also retired. So mom gave me an upbringing of doing puja, going to mandir, chanting mantras, reciting mantras, remembering them, and all of it. Father was more. He was not very ritualistic per se, or he would not go to mandir, but he was more, I can say, adhyatmic person, spiritual. So he would like to do yoga. He would like to meditate, and because of him I joined something called Siddha Yoga. Siddha Yoga is a kind of a meditation center. As we know that we have different kind of meditations, transcendental meditation by Maharshi Mahesh Yogi ji, or Sahaj Yoga by Nirmala Devi ji. On the same lines, this one is called Siddha Yoga Dhyana Kendra. So me and dad used to go with lot of interest earlier, and then mom would join us, although she would be more interested in doing her puja, going to mandir, and reading about Jain Dharma. So mom was very like every other Hindu parent or Jain parent. She would want me to recite mantras, or remembering or cramming those mantras rather. And I would cram them, and then my mom would keep a small exam for me, that hey, do you remember that or not. So I would tell her. So this was I'm talking about up to like good 10 years of my life. And eventually I was still going to, eventually I think the mandir connection started breaking up a little bit as I was growing, and more trying to be independent or not listening to parents. So I think that's very usual for any other kid. And but still I was very interested in going to this dhyan kendras, which is called Siddha Yoga Dhyan Kendra, with my father. And I would go and meditate there. I would meditate at home with him. We would do yoga in the morning. And so pretty much a balanced mandir goer, ritualistic person, and as well as so bhakti yoga and kriya yoga, if you have to put it philosophically. So I
Okay.
was doing both of it with my parents. And I went to a Vedic school called Maharshi Vidya Mandir. They're still running, and it is run by an Maharshi Mahesh Yogi ji's organization. He was a revered saint, you can say, and he traveled to America, and USA actually have his universities. Ayurvedic school is there, and a couple other university, Maharshi Mahesh Yogi University is here. So I went to that school. We used to chant Vedic mantra, and again doing yoga in school, because the idea of this school was, you can say, slight bit of a gurukul kind of, that they were trying to get students familiar with yoga, dhyana, and other aspects of Vedic Sanatana Dharma. And friends wise, if you ask me, socially I was surrounded by all Hindu friends, right? So if my friends would celebrate something, I would do it with all the enthusiasm. For example, like Navdurga, Navratri, I would go and do Garba. I would burn holy with them. I would do puja with them. And I would observe fast, or I would do vrata with them, since they were doing it. So and there was no resistance from my family whatsoever. So this is my school, at home, and social.
So you had no exposure to any other faith in your immediate circle, right? I mean,
No, I
you
did
did
not.
not go to a convent school like a lot of us did,
Yeah.
and you didn't have Christian Muslim friends in the
Mm.
community. You had Hindu Jain
Yes.
upbringing. And then at that time, did you start thinking about some questions about your religious practices? Did those questions arise at that stage in life?
I think I was very young, right? And at that young of an age, there were a couple of basic questions I might say. Why am I meditating? What am I trying to achieve here? Why am I going to Monday? What is going to happen if I'm going to Monday? Or why would my mother be so regular about her puja, about going to Monday, or about any of her routine? Whereas why my father doesn't do it? So, and whereas my father would meditate, and I would ask that, then why doesn't mom do it? She should also meditate, because meditation is good, dhyan is good. So these kind of, like, I think, innocent questions. But as I was growing, I would say that I was becoming more inquisitive. And close to like 13, 14 years of age, till then I was in teenage, right? So more questions, more rebellious attitude, or so all in all, it was going hand in hand. A couple of things going on in my personal life, or that the growing child doesn't want to discuss it with parents. And sometimes there comes a gap. I see that, when as you go more into teenagers, there comes a gap between parents and kids understanding because of that generation gap as well. So I think that is where I was leading to. But I had these innocent questions, and probably not just innocent. As I was growing, these questions were growing in their gravity as well. They were going serious. So more going into the philosophical side. Yeah.
Yeah. So we will not get into the questions just right now, but I was just curious. Did you post these questions in school? Because it was it sounds like a very good, solid Hindu foundational schools. And then you're practicing, Jain family. Were you able to post any of have a discussion at home or in school so you could actually get some of these questions answered?
I did, Sudhaji, because I think I was always an inquisitive child, and I would not resist in asking questions. I would not shy, and so I think I asked to my teachers, I asked my parents, and everybody I knew who I could trust on, and I was looking up to that they can answer my questions. I
Mhm.
was asking them.
Okay. And then you came to the United States. You came as a student. Is that right?
Yes, I came as a student.
And then what happened?
So I finished. So I'll go back a little bit in India. I finished my degrees, and then I was kind of battling that what exactly. I was confused. Career-wise, I was always confused. So I had a couple of options at hand. So I could do MBA in India, or I could come here in United States. And one thing I always wanted to do was to go to a very good university. That was kind of one of my dreams. So I got into a decent university here, which obviously was better than the one that I was going to get into MBA in India. So I decided, okay, I'm going to go to United States. I convinced my parents for a year, and finally they got convinced. Okay, you can go now. So in 2011, August, I landed in United States of America. I started my schooling in Texas, San Antonio, and I started my master's in biotechnology. So that's how I came to United States.
Okay. When you came here, and that is where I think you started to explore other faiths. You got exposed to other faiths. And how did that happen? Walk us through that journey.
Okay, so when I came, I was kind of, I can say that I was in emotional turmoil because so I like this guy, and I knew that anybody whom I'm going to like, that's it. I cannot like many people at one time, and especially as a life partner. So I decided that okay, he's just gonna be my husband, and I told my parents, and that is where the resistance came forward from them, from their side, that hey, you cannot go because you just want to go, and he's from a very different background, basically, culturally very different. So how you guys can be together? It's not gonna happen. So I think that
But was he a Hindu or a Jain?
he's a Hindu. He's a Hindu. Yeah, Hindu
Okay.
Bengali Hindu. He is. Yeah. So when I came here, even after the resistance, although I think I agreed my parents quite a bit, and I said that it is one of my dreams to go into a good university. So I came to this university. I started studying, and eventually I think that I had good set of friends, and I'm very friendly person, or you can say that I like to have friends around. I'm a people's person. I cannot be alone. So I initially I had good friends, but eventually what happened was um, so they were mostly PhD students. So some of them shifted, some of them graduated. A girl went back to India for some health reasons. The others moved to the university or shifted to other university and stuff. So eventually I kind of started feeling very homesick and because I was kind of friendless on the campus. And one thing that works on every in a campus with the Indian students, unfortunately, that I say, is that there's a lot of language preference in making friends. So since we have so many languages and we come from different states in India, so a Marathi would like to hang together with Maharashtrian, and so does Tamil, Bengali, Telugu. So I'm Hindi speaker. So I there were not many Hindi speakers on the campus, and so I was pretty. I mean, I wanted people around, and I could not find them. So it was getting difficult. So that emotional, already I had some issues going on, and then eventually it got a little worse. That hey, I why there are not no friends? I cannot live alone like this. So then there was a guy who came from India, who just joined the university, and he was a Christian, a converted Christian in India. So he invited me. He kind of first made me a friend. I mean, we became friends. We became really good friends, and then he kind of sensed what is going on in my life, I guess, and he invited me over for a place on campus. He did not tell me what it is, but he said that you're gonna like it. So then I on one fine Thursday evening on campus in university, I went to this place, which was full of beautiful faces, smiling, warm faces, and a lot of good music and lights and food. So I went there, and I loved it because everybody was welcoming me, cheering me up, and they were like, I felt like, oh, I'm a special guest here, So, and that is what I think I was looking or craving for. So I started going there. I loved the first time. I did not hear anything else, but I just remember the faces and the ambience and the welcoming environment there. So I decided, okay, I'm going to go next time as well. And that's how the journey, I think, into Christianity had already started.
It was a Christian group. It was a faith
Yes.
group
So
on campus.
this was a church. Here, if I don't know if you know, but on campuses, uh, some ministries, like Christian ministries, have presence on campuses, and they are evangelical Christians who have the agenda of converting the youth on campus. Or you can say that they have a presentation, but they try to invite people into their faith, but then things go a little deeper than that. From just it doesn't stop only at invitation. It goes deeper than that. And although I just want to mention that a lot other faiths are present on the campuses too. I have not seen as much as Hindu faith,
Mhm.
but I've seen Islamists, and I've seen Jewish people on campus. But the most evangelical way, I can say, I've seen the Christians who so this guy from the church, or a pastor, he would scream on top of his lungs and say that if you're not following Jesus, you are going to go to eternal hell. And so far I had not noticed it, but eventually when I started going to church and hanging around with those people, then I noticed that okay, these guys, that's what they do on campus. Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
So you found a network. You basically found sort of like a home where you were
Yes,
comfortable. The
absolutely.
people were friendly, and you wanted to go again and again, and pretty much you were part of that group, right? You
Yes.
became a member of that group. And when did this conversations about faith start in all of that?
Okay, so I'll move forward with my journey, Sudhaji. So then you'll pretty much find every answers there. So when I started going to this church on campus, the very first day, a young girl approached me. She was a small group leader, and small group is kind of an hierarchy that operates in any church, where so your the congregation of church happens in a large group, but then there is a hierarchy of small groups where you can join any small group. That is kind of an individualistic approach to a person, so that you can be in the small group and you can talk to each other. Your small group leader is going to lead the small group. They can talk to each other, and they can, guide you more into Bible. If you have any questions, they can guide you further. So all these things happen there. So that is how I was invited to a small group by this girl, a young girl, a bit younger than me, 4 to 5 years younger than me. Yeah. So, but I never had any problem accepting a younger teacher anyway. So I was happy, and she was so warm, so nice, so friendly, and I thought, why not? I'll definitely go. So I said, okay, I'll come. So eventually, I started going to this on-campus church every Thursday, and then I was going to small group I think Wednesday. Every Wednesday, I was going to small group. Then what happened is that the same guy who invited me for the first time to the church, the Indian converted Christian guy, he he introduced me to other group of friends who were also kind of part of this ministry, which is name is Chi Alpha ministry. But they were also associated with the bigger church, which is a family church, not the on campus church. So these two girls are the friends that I was introduced by this Christian friend of mine who came from India. They invited me to family church on Sundays. So I would start going to family church, and then they had small group on Fridays. So Wednesday I was going to small group, Thursday on campus church, Friday small group, another small group, and Sunday family church. So I was going
So
to
in the
four.
meantime, you had no Indian community calling, "Hey Divya, let's go to the temple. Let's take you to celebrate your birthday at the temple." Nobody was reaching out to you.
Unfortunately, no. But
Okay.
let me say that ISKCON was present on campus.
Mm.
So obviously they would invite. I mean, they were very open, and you can go hang around with them. And then, but then I was more inclined toward this thing because I don't know,
The
many
Indian
things.
group, the Indian group. There were more Indians in this evangelical church.
No,
No.
there were no Indians. Pretty much, I was not hanging out with Indians in the church.
Oh wow!
Yeah,
So
yeah.
the guy from India was already plugged in when he came to the US, and he was plugged into a local evangelical church, and you were introduced into it, and it was just a regular American church, right?
Yes, regular American church, but the on campus they all had intention of inviting Indians.
Mm.
There were a couple of Indians, but then I was not hanging around with those
Yeah,
Indian
I
people in
see.
the church.
Okay,
I
okay.
was more hanging around with the American people,
Mm.
and then other ethnicities were also there. So
Mm.
yeah, so basically I was going too much into all the and learning a lot of Bible. One
Mm.
thing I want to mention is that the first time when I went, I think I missed the message that Jesus is the only way. And eventually, I started learning it, even though the pastor said it from the stage, and he was shouting that Jesus is the only way. But I think I did not pay attention to it. And eventually, I started reading Bible, because that's what we did in the small groups. We would read Bible. If I had questions, I would ask my questions. But the younger small group that I had, this younger leader, she was not neither of them, actually neither of the leaders were so exposed to the world religions or to the world. So they would answer their best, and of course the other one, the family church small group leader, she would answer in a very matured way, because she was a mature Christian, and mature in her faith and age as well. She was older than me. So I think that she was able to answer very convincingly. There was a lot of conviction there. And so that is how we kept going. And I was growing more into faith. I was growing more into my Christian journey. And I was exploring things. I was asking many questions. I used to have tons of questions. And I think I was given another chance in form of mature family group, or family small group and family church, because they had already realized that I do have a lot of questions, and it will be very difficult for me to be converted.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's how it kept growing.
So how did you convert it, right? And
I
how did
did.
it get to that
I
point?
did.
Yeah, how did that happen?
So I was growing in the faith, as I told you, and 20. So I every time, I think after joining the church, 3 or 4 meetings after that, I was asked if I'm going to get baptized. So I asked, what is baptism? And they said that it is a formal acceptance in the public that you have accepted Jesus Christ as your Savior. And now you are just going to believe in one God, that is Jesus Christ. That also means that you are going to reject your other faith, or wherever you're coming from, including your history, your past, your all the other beliefs need to be buried. So I was not ready for it. And but eventually, as I was growing in the faith, I was asking questions, and I think I was kind of being convinced, because there was no other side to
Yeah.
pull me back, or where I actually I was not looking for the options. I
Mhm.
was just happy with this newfound faith, newfound people, and I just wanted to be with them, enjoy with them, but grow with them in the faith. So now I had started believing that, okay, Jesus is the only way. It has been told in Bible like 1,000 times, I guess, that Jesus is the only way. And also it has been stressed upon that if you are not following Jesus Christ, you are going to go to eternal hell, and if you are following him, you are going to eternal heaven. So
Mhm.
as more and more I was reading, the firmer my belief became, that okay, if I'm not following Jesus Christ, then it is going to be very disastrous, and all the other people, I was kind of made to believe that all the other people who are not following Jesus, they're going to have a very traumatic end, and it is going to be so horrible that they're gonna be in the hell forever, eternally.
Mhm.
And I think that eternal word kind of is scary, and I did not want to burn in hell forever. So I decided that I will convert and wait for the judgment day, where Jesus second coming of Jesus is going to happen. I will be arose from my grave, and then Jesus is going to take me home to eternal heaven. So that being said, I decided in May 2014. So my this mentor, the other both the mentors would ask me that, hey, when are you planning to get baptized? But I think at one point of time they understood that until and unless all my questions are answered, I'm not going to convert. So eventually, I think, again, in the turmoil, there was a point which was the weakest point, and I was about, I was having really difficult time now. So I decided, the weakest point, I decided, okay, I'm going to get baptized, that's it. I'm going to change my faith. And I think that was a big decision. I remember
Mhm.
walking in the mall with this mature mentor of mine, the Christian mentor from the family church. And I told her abruptly, hey, I think I'm going to get baptized. So then that's it. She was happy. She had tears in her eyes. The battle from her end was won. And I could not realize that I'm losing it. So May 2014, I don't remember the date. I'm bad with dates. So, but I got baptized in the church, in the family church, in front of hundreds of other people. And after baptism, I told my this mentor, hey, I feel like the gate of heaven is open for me now. And I was being serious. I was
Yeah.
being serious. So she was, all of them were exhilarated, and they were like joyous and celebrating. They threw a party for me, and all. Eventually, I graduated in May as well. So I once I graduated, then I moved to other city, different state for my work, and then I kept moving. I was always in touch with these people. I was reading Bible, and I was still believing that I'm a Christian. I'm no more a Hindu or Jain. And I would, and then something to mention, Sudaji, that I visited home India in the meantime after my baptism. Even before the baptism, all my friends could hear from me, or not my friends, but my back then the person I wanted to marry, and also my parents, all they would hear is that, hey, you guys are going to hell because you're not following Jesus Christ.
Mhm.
They
Mhm.
both knew that I am going to the church, and they would not um, they questioned, they tried to, like, especially my husband now, he would ask me that, why such apathy to other people is growing in you, and but I said, it's written in Bible, don't you know that? And he said, like, no, I don't, because I never read Bible. So we used to have good discussions, we used to have good discussions, but I think I had this shell around me which, stopped anything to come deep inside. All I was literally reflecting back from that shell, and that similar that sheath was acting towards my parents as well. If they would say, and after baptism I went to India,
Mhm.
and I literally abused them for being pagans. Basically, that is the word I was taught: pagans and heathens. And that means that the one who are praying to idols and who are doing nature worship, that is what pagan means. And it is an abusive word, and a lot of people actually resist in saying these days, right? Using it these days. So but I was being very nasty to my parents, and I feel sorry now. And I feel really bad that whatever I told them. And then my mom would try to take me to mandir, I would resist, I would say, no murti puja, it's a sin. And my father tried to take me into meditation and yoga, and I was like, you don't need it, just pray to Jesus, that's it, that's all you need. So that's how I was converted, Divya.
You know, that is, I have to say, tell you, it takes courage to leave a faith that you were born into and go into something else. But it is even more courageous to realize at some point that what you went into was not the right decision, and then to come out of it. Also, the how your behavior with your parents and your fiance husband later on. I find that that is typical of people who newly convert. Their conviction is so strong. They're like, everybody else is wrong. Only you know the truth. And I think that happens to a lot of new converts. So, so anyway, so where did the doubt start to come from, and how did your foundation of the new Christian belief start to shake and crumble?
Okay. I think, yeah, the actual discussion has started now, where, coming back home, it's very important to know. So I was growing in the faith. 2016 July, I got married. This marriage was again because my parents were not convinced for getting me married out of community, and they had their own points, so they said that you can get married, but it will be hard and difficult for us to get you married, because a lot of questions would be asked in the from the social perspective, for which we are not ready. So I said, okay, I'm going to get married to this guy. I got married, and then I got pregnant.
Married in the US, in
Yes,
did you get
yes,
married
yes.
in a Hindu or a Christian way or anything?
Hindu way, Hindu way.
Okay.
Bengali style of wedding. My husband is Bengali, so
Yeah.
Bengali Hindu.
Okay.
So I got married, and then I got pregnant with the first baby. So my pregnancy, I there was already, I was confused about my faith, first of all. Confused as in, I would say that, I got married in a Hindu family, Hindu husband, but then I'm following Christianity, so that was already a big kind of a confusion. And even before that, I want to mention, Sudhaji, that I was at one point of time when I converted, I was ready to leave this relation, and I wanted to get married to a Christian guy, because Bible says that you should yoke with a same believer. The believers should yoke together, and non-believers and believers, because they believe that the non-believers are unrighteous people. That has been mentioned in Bible. That is mentioned in Bible, and the believers are the righteous people. So there is no yoke of righteous and unrighteous, that is believers and non-believers. So I was confused. I didn't want to marry him at one point of time. I asked my mentor. I think that the mentor said that you should get married to him, but I see a bigger intention there of, maybe converting him as
Birding
well.
too.
Yeah, so then I was like, okay, if the mentor says it, then I should get married to this guy. Although in my heart, I was like not very convinced. Still, I got married in 2016. So you imagine already that the family is saying one thing, that he's from a different community, it's gonna be difficult. But on top of that, that is pretty much nothing. But the real concern is he is a Hindu, I'm a Christian. How am I going to get married to him? How we are going to live together? So after when I got pregnant, I and all the rituals of my marriage, even I was feeling very disconnected because these were Hindu rituals, and I was looking down upon everything. And I then I got married and I got pregnant. So I think with the hormonal changes, and the pregnancies are difficult, and I started to get more confused, that hey, what is going on? Which faith am I? Am I Divya the Christian, or Divya Hindu and Jain? So then eventually the pregnancy got a little bad. I mean, it got really, really bad, honestly. I was struck with antenatal depression, and I was alone. My husband didn't know that, what should we do, because it's just two of us, and also we were living in a cold place. I think the environment was adding to it, and then my belief system. So all of it made a
There's too much
terrible
going on
combination.
in life. Too much. Yeah.
Too much to handle. Terrible combination. No help whatsoever in terms of friends or family, because we don't have family here, and this place was new, so we didn't have friends either. So then things started spiraling downward, and I was going down into depression. I had horrible pregnancy, and then I delivered the baby girl. Touch with a healthy baby girl, and then my confusion started furthermore. What is this girl going to be? Is she going to be a Hindu, a Jain, or a Christian? Because father is Hindu, dad, my parents are Jain, and I'm Christian. So what is she going to learn? This is so horrible. So until then, I think I was believing that Jesus is the only way.
Mm.
But the since the baby was born, I think I had to question. I had to ask myself that which faith she is going to be. And I think that was a genuine question from a mother, a new mother, that how would I raise my daughter? And so what I would do is that I used to visit this mature mentor of mine, the Christian mentor in Texas, and I saw her how she was raising her kids, and I saw that she's teaching them Bible every day. I saw that her teaching her kids that Jesus is the only God and nobody else. I saw her taking her daughter out of school, and one of the good reason was she was getting exposed to the world religions there. So all of these things kind of were fastening my belief again, that okay, my daughter is going to be Christian. And but I think the foundation was shaken up. So how I always say it is that I was staunch Christian for 2 years, where I was believing that no other faith is possible. I mean, even there are no chances of any other faith to exist. All the others are heathens and pagans and sinners, whereas Christian is the only way. That happened for 2 good years, and then when I got married, and more so, I think after my baby, when
Mm.
I started questioning that which faith she's going to be, I think that's where the reversal seed has been sown, but it was still blooming, or it was still growing into a plant. So I would question, I would study a couple of things. I got interested, a new interest in near death experience. It's a term called NDE. So I was reading about it, and then it didn't make sense actually. If you think about all those testimonies of near death experiences, it it doesn't say one big thing that Christianity would reject is reincarnation.
Mm-hmm.
So I could not understand that. ND says that you can. They had a lot of accounts of reincarnation. I read couple of reincarnation books, but then why Christianity says that? So I think the seed was sown, and that is how it was growing into a plant. That they had no answers for reincarnation. The Christians don't, because they do not believe in reincarnation. So the things were not lining and syncing up. So this is how my reversal journey has started. Just yet.
And how did you have a Garvapasi, or how did you do it? And yeah, how did you do it? Coming back.
So I eventually I started questioning more. As I said, that with the first seed, it was growing into a little plantlet, and the branches were asking many questions. So there were questions on every branch, that why this, why that, and why not this, and why not that. So reincarnation was one thing. There were other couple other things that I had on my mind. That if you go by, I'm a science student. So, although I was questioning all those science questions, even when I was learning Bible or Christianity, but now they were growing furthermore, that the evolution theory doesn't sync up, and how they say that the God created the world from two
In
people,
seven
Adam and
days.
Eve.
Yeah,
Sorry.
in 7 days.
Yeah. Adam and Eve. The world was created in 7 days. There was no light at the beginning, and the plants and trees were created, but then the sun and moon were created later on. It was not syncing up. Even if you many other questions, like how you say that scientifically, we are all forms of energies, and energy can neither be created nor be destroyed. I see we are pool of consciousness and matters, and this keep traversing. So how is it possible that we can eternally be in heaven or hell, or anything eternal with this soul? How is that possible? And how is anybody else is in control of our lives? Why aren't we? So the very basic question, what I tried to understand was that Hinduism believes in a born divine person. Our Sanatana Dharma says that we are born divine, whereas Christianity says that we are born sinners.
Yes.
It did not make sense to me. It didn't start making sense to me after reading so many near death experience accounts, where they have seen and said the things that are being told exactly pretty much in our Shastra, Sanatan Dharma Shastra. So all these questions started coming up. Whenever I would meet my mentor now, every now and then when I would visit her, I would ask these questions to her indirectly, that I'm reading this, because I think their focus was more on that. Hey, are you reading Bible or not? Are you going to church or not? But I don't think their focus more was on if I have any other questions or not. So because I think that they do at till certain point of time they were able to convince me, but then if there are questions like reincarnation comes up, all they make up as a saying that the Satan is giving you these kind of thoughts.
Yeah.
So you don't
Very
need any
easy answer, very pithy, very easy answer,
easy answer.
right? And also your questions about other things, they say, oh, that's a sin. So very, very quick, very concise, very, I mean, sometimes that hits the mark, and the person who's a target decides, wow, that's a good answer, right?
Right, right,
Yeah.
right. Is it? It's a narrow escape for them, an easiest way to answer, so that your basic capability of inquisitiveness or asking would be killed. or marred by them. So that is what was happening in my case too. And I would take my daughter, very we would have fun, but I think there was always this heaviness of praying to Jesus or following his, be like Jesus or following his footsteps. Many things that she would look like, if we are wearing a black thread, my daughter was wearing a black thread, I would wear some red dhaga in hand, right? So she would ask me that why is that, what is that, or she seems so uncomfortable with it. And they believe that anything which is coming apart from Jesus, that is satanic or demonic or evil. So she would look at it like that, and she would we would talk about in a similar fashion that this person is possessed, or ABC person, whoever we will see, if they're praying to Hindu gods, it seems they're possessed. They're possessed
You
by
are
the
not
same.
reading your Bible enough. You don't have enough faith. That is why all these questions come. So, I don't want to rush you, but we have about 15 more minutes, and I
Sure.
wanted to, yeah, but I would like you to talk about coming back.
Yeah. Okay. So that's how it happens, Sudhaji. I think the final. In this time period, a couple of cultural and questions, heritage questions also came up. I see that my culture and our heritage is all imbibed in our shastra or dharma as well. So you cannot separate them. You cannot segregate them. So, for example, I like Bharatnatyam. I like classical dances and music. I like to listen to them. I follow them. So uh, when this friend of mine said that, if they're praying to any other god, which our dance forms does, then you should not watch them or listen to them. And I said that, but until that point of time I was thinking they're cultural aspects, which now the Christians are trying to appropriate in the name of culture. So
Yes,
they have uh, in spite of Bharatnatyam with reverence to Hindu gods, they have made it to Jesus.
Jesus
Every
Christ.
story has been changed and appropriated. And same goes with Kathakali, same goes with Carnatic music. I have seen the shows actually. So I would ask this person that, but I love dance and music. I love watching them, hearing them. They make me sing, make me dance. I feel so divine and so divinely connected. And she would say that culture is only that human being has made for their own fun sake, and that can be left behind. So basically what she was saying is that leave that behind, because it is not following in line with your Jesus's journey or Christ's journey. So basically you will be deprived of all the joy. Also she said that, you cannot do this if you're following Christ, you cannot do that, you cannot be praying to other gods, obviously, but then you cannot watch or listen to anything which prays to other god. And that means that I have to leave a big part of me which I really love. So all these utility values, even the yoga, dhyana, I would still do it. Even though I was thinking about Jesus in my prayers, I would still do it because I see a lot of utility value as well. And with the what the Christian counterparts are trying to do is appropriating the yoga, dhyan, our dance forms which are coming from Natya Shastra, our Sangeet, everything which has been mentioned in Shastra somewhere or the other. They are trying to appropriate it. They are trying to say this is Christian, that is Christian. Now they have Christian yoga. So when you can appropriate it, but then you do not want to acknowledge where actually it is coming from, just because your faith is saying that you cannot do so. And
Yeah.
if so, you are good at stealing, but you are bad at acknowledging the truth and where it is coming from. All these things started little by little. All these incidences started bothering me. And the final snap out moment happened when, in the first Corona lockdown, I was stuck in India. And around May, there was a lynching of two sadhus, monks. happened in Palghar in
Mm.
Maharashtra.
Yes.
I was shocked and my soul was stirred. I was so shocked that how can people do that? And then I came to know that there is a lot of conversion, Christian conversion is going on in Palghar, Maharashtra. And this particular incident is in the same light where the separatist Christians or the tribe who are being inculcated with the seed of separation from Hindus, they have been garnered the hatred toward Hindu and saffron clad sadhus, and that's why they became the victim of this demonic mob, I would say. And they killed the sadhus. And when I tried to tell the incidents to this Christian mentor of mine, you know what, she kind of tried to justify it with the persecution of so-called persecution of Christians in India, which we all know that doesn't happen as such. Rather, I mean, I have except they have only one example to give, which is in Orissa, where
Yes.
Mr. Dara Singh had taken the revenge on the Christian missionaries because they had ruined the whole village, the whole tribe, and they were sowing the seeds of hatred in among people, in the heart of Hindu people, against their own faith. So Daya Singh took his decision, and that is the only example they have to give. Whereas
Yes.
if I need to list it out, I can list out hundreds of examples of Hindu persecution around the world. So so when she tried to justify, I said no, that's it. That's end of my journey with you. Thank you so much. I am done with you, and I don't think I'm a Christian anymore. And the very day I decided, this there is something very wrong with this faith, I'm not staying here. The next moment I was looking at articles online. What is Christianity? Where did it start from? How did it spread? And how did it spread to the world? How did it enter India? What all it has done? Which cultures have been destroyed by Christianity? Why it had been destroyed? Where did the pagan cultures go? And what happened to all the beautiful pagan native cultures of America, of Mesopotamia, of Greek, of Rome, of Aztec, all native European, all native African, all native American, and now all native Asian. And Sanatana Dharma is under a grave danger because of the militant conversion. And I was shocked. I was shocked to my core. Oh my God! 8 years of my life. Where were I? Where was I? Why didn't I ask these questions?
I kind of look at you as a very smart, analytical person. Okay. And you like to find answers on your own, which is actually a very Sanatani attribute, because
Yes.
we are seekers,
Yes.
eternal seekers, you know. So you were seeking, you started seeking as a Hindu Jain. Then you started seeking in Christianity, and you haven't stopped seeking, and you decided that Christianity wasn't giving you the answers. That was the wrong thing. So I'm going to ask you a couple of questions. I was going to bring up a few slides, but I don't think I will. My question is, what is your advice to Hindu parents, Divya? What should Hindu parents in India and here should do? Um, we don't learn about world religions. We don't learn about Hindu religion really. Most of us don't know much about Christianity. I come from Kerala, grew up with Christians, and I feel like my Christian friends don't know anything about the history of Christianity.
Yeah.
What should we do? What's your advice to parents?
I think to begin with, parents need to get trained in some small course about what is Sanatana Dharma, the very basics of Dharma. And if at all the questions come up from your children about what is this, what is that, you need to be very precise in answering and give a gist. First you give a gist, and then you can go in the detail if the person is interested, but you need to be very convincing. And I think is it CoHNA that has started the Hindu parenting program,
We have a
where
Hindu parent network, and I hope
right.
you join. It's the Hindu Parents Network that is trying to inculcate not shloka mantra, but the rich heritage and culture and civilization of Hinduism to parents and kids. And the Hindu
Yes.
Parent Network, I also feel like provides a networking resource. So
Mm-hmm.
you as a parent has a question, and or some
Absolutely.
other parent has a question. It's a resource to come to,
Yes.
and
So
yeah.
we need similar kind of these initiatives in India and around the world, Sudhaji. Thank you. Kudos to actually CoHNA for starting this. And then very few basic questions that I actually listed out is that which made or can come up from any kid, any children. Why do Hindus or per se Jains do have Murti Puja? Why there are so many gods in Hinduism as well as Jainism? Why the god of Hinduism and Jainism are not graceful enough to save us from the cycle of birth and death, like Jesus Christ? Why, as per Hinduism, the soul is eternally bound for birth and death? If Hindus and Hindu gods are so strong enough, why the country right now is in ruins? There were so many invasions. It is poor and things like that. Why there are so many books or shastra, scriptures in Sanatana Dharma, and why there are so many rituals. I think these are the very generalized questions that I had, and I could not find the right answers to it in my Hindu journey. So
We,
if I think
those are very good questions, I have to say. And I think we can collectively put together some short answers, not the whole essay of Hinduism. But what you're saying
yes,
is that everybody has a set of questions. Your questions may not be the same as somebody else's. But the message to parents, at least as a parent, I would say, don't dismiss this. Don't tell your kid, oh, you're silly. Take them seriously.
yes,
Answer the question. If you don't know the answer, you tell the kid, hey, why don't we research it together and let's talk over it or to talk about it over dinner. Have these conversations. Go
yes,
find a resource, right? I
yep,
mean, yeah, we want to have more conversations with you. I'm going to set up more conversations with you with groups with young people, right?
sounds good.
Because your story, how the whole thing happens, uh, it's something that all parents need to hear. But what about the community, Divya? How do you reach out to students like you, international or out of state students who come to a campus, particularly in the South or maybe in California too? Who knows? What is your message to them?
Sudaji, so I think growing up, we need to be growing as a proud Hindu with the longest everlasting civilization, most beautiful, most ancient, very scientific, rational, logical. Look at our temples, look at our dance forms. There is so much joy in everything we do. There is so much meaning in everything we do. So growing as a kid, and now if I look at the students, the college going students, I think we need to have outreach program for them as well. We are trying to set up an outreach here where I live, and we are trying to reach out to students and spreading the message. A lot of organizations are doing great job. Chinmaya Mission, be it ISKCON, and all these are doing a great job of reaching out. It needs to be enhanced more and more people need to join them and take the message to college campuses, take the message to school campuses, and then again make them. I think art, architecture, and heritage is a great gateway. I see it as a gateway to dharma. So to the more intricate and more deep philosophies. So we can take our art, architecture, heritage, and culture, dance forms, and music, folk dances, and everything to these kids and make them proud Hindus first. And then we can go into the philosophical side of Sanatana Dharma. So outreach is very important. I cannot hear you, Sudachi. You're muted.
Yeah, sorry. I'm going to post your questions in chat because we are not going to take these questions anyway. But I want people to understand the kind of questions that come up, and somebody might say, "Oh, I know how to answer it." Okay, great answer. But the kids want to hear these questions in a very simple way. Yeah. Let's go to the next slide. But I'm also going to post this in chat if I can. Let us see. Maybe I cannot. Yeah. So these are the questions that Divya had. And I want to let everyone know in the audience, your kids may have different questions, but pay attention to them. Answer those questions in modern times vernacular. you know if you some I have to say, we routed these questions to some parents, and one parent said the question about murtis and all that, I thought this was a very cool answer. Right now we are on YouTube or Facebook, or maybe we do a Zoom or a WebEx or for connecting. Having multiple murtis is sort of similar to that in terms of how you connect to that divine form, right? Doesn't matter if it's WebEx or Zoom or what I'm connecting to Divya on, right? I'm talking to Divya. So I think we need to connect to kids and answer kids in simple answers in terms of their lives today. We can be very complex because the Christian group that Divya was with, their answer was very simple. It's a sin. I mean, and then that's it, right? And then goes into the eternal damnation or the heaven. And so we cannot really spend, when they're small, on long answers, right? Give them what they need, but have continuous conversation. Why do you do puja? Why do you go to the temple? Why do you go around the temple? There are answers to this on internet now, or you can go to a resources, like you said, the Chinmaya Mission, or the Hindu Parents Network, many resources. Don't give up. Don't give up. We need our kids to be proud Hindus. So that is a message we wanted to come out with. And what are you doing? Also, you're doing a few other things in the community versus talking to the parents and the students. And every time you talk to them, you said you try to see what can be made better, right? How
Yes.
can you answer the questions better if you miss something? I think that is good. We want to learn from that. And then connecting with other kids who, let's say, converted and came back. We want to learn from them too. Or converted and don't know how to come back. How do we reach them,
Mhm.
right?
There's so much needs to be done, Sudhaji. There's so much that I'm doing, but I think a lot more needs to be done. I'm speaking at interfaith organizations, interfaith talks, sharing. Also, apart from interfaith, I'm sharing my Christian and Hindu journey, and enlightening people or speaking on the Hindu issues as well. So I so much that I'm doing, but I think everywhere that we need more volunteers, we need more people, we need more people who can acknowledge that there is a need of the hour to awaken other Hindus of the situation of where the Hindus are in, and all of such kind of things. So I'm doing a lot of things, but I intend to do a lot more, and I wish that my journey could awaken more Hindus and make them awaken that they need to work on Hindu causes, and also bringing on the knowledge or enlightenment on Hindu issues.
Yeah, no, I really want to thank you because you, Esther Dhanaraj, Mary Suresh Iyer, I listen to them also because we can learn. We can learn from your journeys. We can learn and see how we can make our kids really smart, good citizens of the country, good people, but also proud Hindus. Because it is, when you look at who's writing the caste resolutions in universities, a lot of times it's Hindu students writing it. Who was behind, who actually participated in the dismantling in global Hindutva? A lot of those names were Hindus. So we don't want our kids to be that way. We want our kids, like you said, be proud of our culture and heritage, not be ashamed of it. And yeah, and the schools and universities and study of religions are all stacked against us. So we have that extra work to do, extra step to do. So I am looking on the chat, and I think everybody had good comments, but I'm not sure if there are any questions there for folks. So I want to ask everybody, all parents, to join the Hindu Parents Network and come join us, volunteer. And like Divya, join the Hindu Speakers Bureau. Be a speaker, be a volunteer, be visible, and help our children. Because when we are visible, our kids are watching. They become more courageous. They want to stand up. So I think we can be the example for our kids, right? So Divya, thank you so much.
Thank you,
Thank you so much.
Sudhaji. Thank you, Sudhaji. I just wanted to add one more thing. That a
Yes.
lot of time, actually, when I discuss it with Christians, that you have a lot of problems in Bible, and we do not say just because it's not about faith or not being having faith, but if you read the book, the only book, possibly the only book for Christianity, it is full of aberrations, full of controversies and atrociousness. So there are verses which say stoning the non-believers to death in Deuteronomy, Old Testament. There are verses about slavery in Peter 2:18, which says that servants be submissive to your masters with all fear, not only to the good and gentle, but also to the harsh. Similar verses are there in the Old Testament, which says that slavery is okay, which says that women need to be submissive to men, which says that it is okay to stone the non believers to death. When you talk to the Christian apologist, they say that okay, this is Old Testament, how this is it's not good in today's time, then why are you going and converting other people? Yours might be the faith based religion, ours is a seeking dharma,
Mhm.
and we are seekers, and that's
Self-evolving. We might
self
go
evolving.
make lots of mistakes, but we correct
Yes,
them over time.
yes,
There's a
yes.
question from Shailendra that you are a well-educated young lady, and how did this? What is missing in our education system? Would you like to answer that, Divya?
Sure, Shailendraji, I think education system is missing everything. I don't see any Hindu education in the education system. It's all Macaulay in India, and we are not being taught any scriptures, any shastra in schools, right? All we were getting is either from the family, or if we are going to mandir, and if we, like Jains have pathshala, or like Chinmaya Mission, they teach, right? Or ISKCON teaches Bhagavad Gita. But apart from that, if you're going just to school, school does not teach you that. Yeah, all you're reading is this that CBSE NCRT syllabus, and that doesn't talk about anything, any greatness about Hindus. So that is, I think, one big gap that has in the Indian education system. And obviously, you cannot talk about in United States or anywhere else apart from India that you can expect scriptures or shastras to be taught in schools. So that there is a big gap, and as I always say that there is a big gap in answering the questions with conviction, with in a convincing manner. If even if my parents would have answered me, or if they would have developed that ability to answer concisely and precisely in a convincing manner, I think I should not have gone to the other side.
Yeah, no, very good point. There's also some comment, why are Christians not held accountable? Well, we cannot do that. I think it's up to each of us and our community to protect our children. And that means not only knowing our own dharma, but a little bit about Christianity, the history of Christianity and Islam. Esther says the day she started walking back was when she went to divinity school and started
Yes,
reading the
yes,
history of
yes.
Christianity. That completely
Changed
brought
her.
her back.
Yeah.
So learning about it any way you can is extremely important. Discussing it with children, not maligning anyone, but you just compare about what you do versus what the others do. The evolution creationism is a great example. I
Yeah.
think that your children would love it because it's science and logic, and there's a lot to talk about it. And I think, Divya, we're going to continue the conversation with you in the future. But for today,
Absolutely.
I think, unfortunately, all good things must come to an end. So
Exactly.
we have to close the event now and give back time to all of our participants. I want to thank everyone who
Thank
joined.
you. Thank you.
And I look forward to you participating again in our shows. And everyone,
Absolutely.
please join Kona. Please join the Hindu Parents Network. And Divya, you too. You have two little
I
kids.
will.
Please
Yes, yes.
join.
I will.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Namaste.
Namaste ji. Namaste Sudhaji. Thank you.